How does spiritual or religious narcissists use the concept of karma and sins to spread fear and shame others and manipulate others? Do people with physical disabilities and chronic illness experience them because of their past negative karma and sin from their past lives? Let's delve deeper into this topic. As a karma transformational guide myself, I can assure you that the way a spiritual or religious narcissist teach others about karma is very destructive. All spiritual and religious narcissists are very well known to distort the scriptures or spiritual teachings, to manipulate others, to shame others, to spread fear. Okay, so religious and spiritual narcissists, they usually will make karma look like punishment or sin. They deliberately spread fear, especially using the concept karma. Why? Because they want to control you. When they spread fear using the concept of karma, sins, they will portray themselves as the savior. They will portray themselves as someone who has all the solutions to solve your problems. And that's one of the main reasons they love to spread fear and keep you in fear. It's their way to assert their dominance over you, to control you. Okay, so karma is not about punishment or sin. Yes, what we sow, we will reap. That is true. But that is not applicable for all unfortunate things that happen in our life. We can't generalize it. Okay, when we use the word karma and sins, we have to teach the concept of karma in a very compassionate and wise manner. Because people who are going through a lot of unfortunate things in their life, people who have disabilities, chronic illness, or any other misery in their life, they're already carrying so much of guilt, shame, and burden. They're already blaming themselves. Many of them would have been blaming themselves, thinking that what have I done? Why me? Why is this happening to me? Maybe I would have done something bad in the past. They're already carrying so much of guilt and burden. And we can't go and tell these people, oh, you are going through it because of your past karma, because of your past life karma, because of a sin that you've done in your past life. That's not how we teach the word karma, and that's not even true. Karma is not as simple as we think. It's not. It's a very complex subject. Okay? And so we can't use this concept just recklessly, compulsively, just like that to anyone. If somebody is crying because somebody had died in their life, are you going to go and preach them about karma? Oh, you would have done something bad in your past and that's the reason you're facing this. If any spiritual or religious teachers does that, they are definitely a spiritual or religious narcissist. They don't have wisdom. An enlightened spiritual teacher, an awakened, spiritually awakened spiritual teacher will never spread fear. They will try to empower you, not bring you down. Now the next question is it true that people with disabilities or chronic illness are experiencing them because of their past negative karma in their past lives? Is it 100% true? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Why? Do you know that many souls, before they take birth on earth, they will choose to be born in certain physical disabilities or chronic illness in order to have faster spiritual evolution, faster spiritual progress, It's part of their spiritual progress. It's part of their spiritual lesson they want to learn in order to get a faster spiritual progress. Why? Why would they do such thing? Because when somebody is born with a physical disability, even if they didn't born with it, let's say it happened few years after they're born, okay, when they are adult or anything like that, okay, and somebody is having some sort of physical abilities or chronic illness, these people cannot depend on their body for happiness. What do I mean by body? They cannot run, have fun, go travel, go do this, go do that. Okay, they are not able to take many physical actions that can bring them pleasure or happiness. Am I right? So they will be indirectly forced to go within them for happiness, for true joy and peace. They will be forced to connect to the inner divine within them. Rather than focusing on the external, they will be forced focus on their internal divine, their inner divine, inner divinity for joy and peace and bliss. As we know, if you are someone who has been on the path of spirituality, you can't get everlasting joy, bliss and peace by chasing something external. You can't. Even if you manage to be happy with something external, materialistic stuffs or any relationship with others, it's very temporary. It's temporary. You want to buy a car and then you bought the car, then you got that excitement. After some time, you start to feel not fulfilled again. And again you'll be chasing for another car. And relationship, are all of us satisfied with the relationship that we have in our life? Can we depend on the external for everlasting peace and joy? Joy is different from happiness. Happiness is about pleasure. Joy is the bliss within us. Peace, can we get it externally, maybe temporarily? Am I right? So these souls take this birth not only to realize it, but also to show the whole world that true joy, bliss and peace is not something that we can get it by chasing something externally, but we can get it by exploring our inner dimension. Because we are not just this body, this mind and thoughts. We are beyond this body, mind and thoughts. We are the witness behind our thoughts. We are part of the divine. We are the divine spark. We are the part of this infinite consciousness, infinite intelligence. And many of us, we need to take many births in order to come to this spiritual awakening and realization. So some of these souls, they choose to be born with certain issues in order to go through a faster spiritual progress. Let me give you an example. The famous physicist Stephen Hawking had total paralysis. The muscles couldn't work at all. He was on his wheelchair, not by birth, okay? I think the age of 21 or 22, I can't recall. He got that paralysis, okay? And he's one of the happiest person, the most joyful, peaceful person that you can ever see. There's one enlightened teacher by the name of Eckhart Tolle. Okay, he's an enlightened master. He mentioned in one of his books, I can't recall which book, or I can't recall if he mentioned it in one of his videos. I think Stephen Hawking was his senior. So it seems he spoke to Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking, he'll be sitting on his wheelchair, okay, his head will be tilted, okay, and people have to feed him food, okay. And Stephen Hawking told Eckhart Tolle that he couldn't have asked more for a better life. He was so joyful and peaceful because he has already totally surrendered. He accepted his condition and he totally surrendered and he was in bliss. Eckhart Tolle said he's one of the most blissful person he has ever met. According to Eckhart Tolle, he went through a huge spiritual awakening. Some people was telling me Stephen Hawking is an atheist. So what? You don't have to believe in God in order to be enlightened or spiritually awakened. We'll speak about that in some other video. Okay, that's a different topic. Okay, so similarly, there's another person by the name of Nick Vigius, I think so. He doesn't have limbs. 2 or 3 or 4 limbs, I can't recall. He's extremely joyful, peaceful. He's married and have children. Even Stephen Hawking was married and had children after his paralysis. They're one of the most joyful person. Why? Because when we have a pain, physical pain in life, rather than the pain, our thoughts about the pain cause more pain for us. Our perspective about it cause more pain and misery for us. When your perspective shifts, your whole life shifts. That is spiritual awakening. Now I wrote this about this as an article on my Instagram. Somebody asked me this. They asked me, Radhika, you are telling that karma is not a punishment, that you're going against of the concept that karma is punishment, okay? And you are telling that the souls they themselves chose to be born with certain conditions. Isn't it the same thing? Isn't it what we call as self-blaming? Aren't you still telling that those people are choosing to suffer? This is the question she asked me. I said, nope. They are totally different concept. When someone says the karma is a punishment or a sin, what is punishment? Punishment means somebody else is punishing us. Am I right? It means our life is in someone else's hand. So when someone says karma is a punishment, it's like someone else is punishing us because we have done something wrong, that something is wrong with us, something is bad with us. So we carry so much of guilt, shame, unworthiness, and that our life is in someone else's hand. And we have to suffer forever for the rest of our life. And we feel unworthy, unloved. Am I right? But when I say that the soul were the one who made the choice to be born with certain conditions, it means the power is in that soul's hand, in that person's hand. Okay? The power is in that person's hand to transmute the suffering into joy, success, bliss, and peace. Am I right? The same soul, the soul who had made the choice to be born with certain condition, also have the similar power in their hand to transmute the suffering, which means we can break our karmic patterns. We might be born with a certain condition, but how we respond to it changes everything. So it's a totally different concept. It's totally opposite. This is not self-blaming. This is self-empowerment. Do you understand? So if you think I'm trying to blame them or something like that, no. The power is in your hand. You can change it. So when these souls are born in these conditions, they have a choice to tap into their inner divinity. Some souls, some people, they come to their own realization. Meanwhile, some others, they need to be guided to take the right steps in order to have this spiritual awakening, in order to break their karmic patterns. Okay? So karma is not punishment and sin. Okay? It is a system. It's a feedback system. What we sow, we reap. That's true, but it's not as simple as that. Okay? It's a system for soul's evolution. Karma is not meant to instill fear, shame, guilt within someone. I've written about it in details on my Instagram page. I pinned that post. What is karma? How karma works? If you have past trauma, unhealed past emotional wound, that becomes part of negative karma. If you have a limited negative belief system, it becomes part of your negative karma. If you have a generational trauma or generational karma, our ancestor or something like that, it becomes part of our karma. See, it revolves many things. So it's not just that, oh, I'm going through this because I've done something bad in the past. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. So it's not as simple as that. You can go through my older videos in TikTok, where I posted a video about, is negative karma a punishment? Check out that video, my old video. Okay, is negative karma a punishment? Check out that video. Okay, so I think I'll post next video about, is karma a sin and punishment? We'll talk about that in detail. Okay, so please remember, there are a lot of spiritual teachers who are spiritual narcissists and religious narcissists who deliberately spread this fear and instill shame within people by telling that they have those conditions because of their past bad karma, because they have done something bad in their past life. That is not true, and we can break our negative karma. So let me know what you think about this topic. Thank you.